Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of Autodesk Revit Tips and Tricks series. Today we are going to be working with 3D elements and I hope it's going to be more fun than last time that we learned about the basics of templates and some shortcuts and more information about general basic stuff. Well, let's go into the detail today and how we draw in 3D. So I'm going to create a new project file. I go to Neue and then BIM Architekturen vereinfacht, which will be picked. So you don't want to pick the original one and you want to pick the vereinfacht one because the original one is pretty heavy and pretty filled with levels that's unnecessary for you right now. I go to OK. One of the first things I want to mention about drawing in 3D in Revit is you may find it that for other programs, other softwares like SketchUp, like Rhinoceros, you get used to drawing in 3D sometimes, and then you have different tabs open. And in SketchUp, you actually have one tab that you always draw in 3D. And in Revit's case, it's a little bit different. Drawing in 3D is actually not a great idea. So if I pick a wall tool and then I start drawing, as you see, I can draw, but my navigation is a little bit more difficult to understand. I don't see everything. There can be things that are crossing that I didn't realize, or like I want to connect things, which in this case that happened, but in a complicated case you may have problems. Now I delete this and I'm going to be in my Ebene. So I pick the wall tool and I start drawing, and as you see, drawing in 2D is much more efficient, and Revit will always connect the walls automatically. That is a pre-made option for this. Now when I go to 3D, here are my walls. So my first tip is always draw on your 2D views in your Grundrisses, in your Ansichts, so in your floor plans and elevations, or in sections even. So let's keep this. Let's not erase this now. Now I go to Ebene and I want to explain you what Ebene actually is. So when you see here in the Grundriss part, we have Ebene -1, 0, we have the Lageplan 1 and 2. So what are these and how can I add more? Because when I right click here, there is nothing named add more. So I have to go to an Ansicht to understand better because we need to look at from the side view. Here I have the levels, which are called Ebene, in this case in German, and they are aligned in sort of way. You can move them just by this point here and drag and drop. As you see, there's a small lock icon here. That means all the levels are right now aligned together, so they all move together. But if I turn off the constraint, then I can move only the one of them. And when I bring it back to the aligned space, it automatically locks them. So you want to change the height of these levels, you can just drag them. That's one of the options. And as you see, a object assigned to that certain level moves with the level itself, like these walls. As I pick my wall, as you see here, the Abhängigkeit unten is Ebene 0. So when I move my Ebene 0, the wall of course follows it. So I want to keep it at 0, and drag and drop is not the great idea for arranging a specific dimension. I right click on it, I'll double click on it, and I go 0. Okay, then I align it back to here, and I'm going to align this as well. Now, in some cases, you may not see anything written on this side, but maybe on this side. Well, this can happen in a way that you create the level either from left or right to right or right to left. So in regular cases, you would want to have your levels, the tags, on this side. For that, you just need to click on this little button here. Blended Beschriftungsblock aus. So you can, by the way, turn on both sides. There is no restriction for it. But let's keep it that way right now. Now you can change it also at the top part, where you can change the name. Also, let's say Ebene 25. And it asks me, möchten Sie die entsprechenden Ansichten umbenennen? So it means that if we want to change the name of the related levels, I say, okay. You may think, what levels is it talking about? Because, okay, we have the Grundrisses, but what else do we have the same name? Which are the Deckenpläne, which is Ebene 25, we see here again. What is it? So basically, in a regular Grundriss, in a regular level, you look at from top like this. This is your direction. So when I go to Grundriss, there is a cut point, which I cut the view, that I can see the sections of the walls, layers of the walls, for example, and then I look down. But in a Deckenpläne, I cut from a certain level, but this time I look upwards. So for example, I have here a ceiling that I want to place lamps on it. So I better go to Deckenpläne and I place my lights according to the ceiling here. It can be different things as well, like beams, like track systems, track elements, so construction elements. This is the difference between the Deckenpläne and Grundrisse. Now let's change the Ebene 25 back to Ebene 1, so no complications there. Yes, I want to change all the names, and then I want it to be 3 meters. Click OK. This is how you change the levels. But let's say I want to create an apartment with 6 floors, let's say. And I already have 0, 1, 2. That's great. How can I do more? Well, one of the ways is go to Ebene and start drawing one. And see what happened? It's red now. What can be the reason? As you see here, in the Eigenschaften panel, that my level is Ebene Oberkante Fertigfußboden, OK FFB. Therefore, it's red. It's a pre-made level type. But when I click on the previous ones, they are just Ebene. Nothing specific, nothing special, just layers. So I want to make it the same one. So I click here and I click Ebene. Now they are all blue and they are aligned. Now, is there a better way to do it? Is there a faster way to do it? Can I copy it, for example? I click one, I go to copy, which is CO for the shortcut, and then I can either move it like this, for example 3 meters, or I can from here drag it automatically with copy, and I keep putting more. What happened is that I created more levels, But here on the right side in my Grundriss panel, I don't have any levels. Like in my Tragwerks plane, in my Decken plane, anywhere I don't see number 4 and number 5. Why is that? Because copy makes another copy of this level, but it doesn't create any levels that we can actually use on our project browser. Later on we can use them to assign parameters to. So like this, for example, here I see the Ebene 4, but I cannot go there and use it as a view for myself. This drag and drop would not work. You have to change it here because now I have versatz, which I don't want. Okay, how can I make it work? There are two ways. One of them is the long way. The correct way is that you go to Ansicht, and here I have Draufsichten, and I want Grundriss. Now here it shows me 4 and 5 because these are the only ones that I don't have any Grundriss for. So I click one and I click Control. I press Control on my keyboard and I pick the Ebene 5 and I go OK. Now I have them here as well. Ebene 4, Ebene 5. The other way is that you better don't do that than copy it. So I click on my level. I can go to architecture and draw another Ebene, which is a slower process. But I click on it and I press CS, create similar, on my keyboard, which allows me to draw another level. This time I'm going to be picking the lines. Now when I click on it, it's going to pick a line. But of course I don't want the level to be aligned with this line, so I have to give a versatz, which in my case I want it to be 3 meters. And then, as you see, when I come here on my level, I can see a ghost line, an invisible line, showing either up or down. If my mouse cursor is above the line, then it's going to be making this level above the other one. Or if I make it down, if I make it below the level line, it's going to be making it at the bottom. I want it to be above. I click again and again and again. And as you see, all of them are created here. The reason for that is this is already a specified level. It already has a Decken plane, it already has Grundriss, it already has Tragwerks plane. And what I am doing is I am creating similar ones with the different names. Now, only thing I want to change here is that it starts from 880 and then it goes like that. I want to move them up. I pick all of them except this one, these, and then I go to move, click once, and I move it 0.2. Yep, now everything is like 3 meters gap. Now I can pick my walls and I can say it's going to be up until Ebene 9. Now as you can see, my walls are going up until Ebene 9. So this is how you create levels. This is how you change them later on. You can arrange them according to your needs whenever you want to. And if you have some objects assigned to those levels, it only changes with that level. So what that means is if I change Ebene 8, it doesn't change anything with my walls because they are not assigned to level 8. They are assigned to level 9. So let's erase these walls and let's erase these levels. Let's start with our second tip, which our topic is now walls. Now, when you try it first, you may realize that there are lots of parameters in walls. Like when I go to wall panel, then there is this Höhe, Ebene 1, then nicht tragende Schicht. So this is the Basislinie, and then there's the Kette, Versatz, Radius, so many things. Then Verbindungsstatus is Zulassen. What are they? They are actually parameters that defines your boundaries, defines what your variables are. First one, the most important one you need to take care of is the Abhängigkeit unten and Abhängigkeit oben. So these are the top and bottom sides of the wall. It starts from Ebene 0, which is my bottom part, and it goes up until Ebene 1, which is my top part. So when I start drawing right now, as you see, I have drawn from 0 to 1. Now I go 3D, I pick everything, and when I make the top 2, it went up. Now when I pick everything back and I make it -1 in the bottom part, it goes down until my -1. So this is the first parameter you should take care of. Now there are two other parameters next to them which are important also. They are Versatz unten and Versatz oben, which would actually change an extra parameter according to your Abhängigkeits, tops and oben. So here, for example, if I give minus 0.5, it's going to always give me -5 meters, so -5 centimeters, actually 50 centimeters gap from the level it's assigned to. So if I assign it to Ebene 1, it's still going to give me -50. If I assign it to Ebene 0, it's still going to give me 50 centimeter gap. Let's keep it at 0. And it can also change with the unten. So there are some floors, for example, maybe underneath, and then I want to cover them with my walls, so I can go -0.2, and then my walls are starting from -2 meters, or -0.2, so -20 centimeters from Ebene -1. It's going to change with my level as well again. This time, because I have this Versatz, I can pick the same names. Normally it wouldn't allow me because then the height of my wall would be 0. But right now I start from -20 and I go to 0. So it allows me. Another important parameter is the baseline of your drawing. So I go to want again. The shortcut is, by the way, WA, I remind again. And here the baseline is nicht tragende Schicht Innenkante. Now, in English, this is way simpler than in German. Actually, the nicht tragende Schicht means the exterior and interior sides of the wall. Like complete exterior and complete interior. There is nothing more. So Innenkante is like this. And then when I make it Außenkante, it's like this. What are the others? Wandachse. Wandachse is just the exact middle point of this wall. Exact middle. Kernachse is the middle point of the kern. In my case, this is the Mauerwerk, which is a Ziegel. Here, the red part. What's the difference is that this one calculates the thickness of the exterior part as well and takes the middle point of both of them. But this one takes only the middle part of the Ziegel and then takes the middle point of that line. Now, what does it change? When I click on this, and when I change the direction of my wall, this one changes from the middle axis. As you see, it changes position, but it doesn't move down or up. But in this case, when I change, it rotates around the interior side. This one rotates around the exterior side. And this one rotates around the Ziegel. So Ziegel stays the same, but the other side, the Dimenions, moves. This is the second parameter. Actually, in this case, fifth parameter. We talked 4 of them. This is the fifth parameter that you should consider. The Kette, you would like to keep it on in many cases, because if it's not on, drawing, as you see, now I have to click again to draw another wall. But if Kette is on, I just keep drawing like this. And what is verbindugnen zulassen? Let's try it out. As you see right now, when I draw 2 walls, it brings them together, it combines them together, which is a Verbindung, automatically. What happens if I pick nicht zulassen? I draw my first and I draw my second, which is not the greatest case, in which something you wouldn't want to happen. So keep it zulassen at all costs. Like, you don't want it to be separate like this. Only do it if you know what you're doing. Alright, these are the most important parameters when working with walls. So I want to mention about something with Revit and the families and system families. As I mentioned in the earlier video, that there are system families like walls, and there are regular families, that loadable families like windows and doors. In this case, I want to talk about the wall. We have the wall selected. Now, wall is a system family that you cannot put in, you cannot take out. It's there, and you can only change the types. Now, what's under the family is a type. A type is a specified parameters of a single type of a family, actually. So under my walls, my type is right now Ziegel plus Wärmedämmung Hard 300 plus 160. Now, this is just a name. So this doesn't define any parameter for me. This doesn't define any information. So when I go to construction, it's made like this. It's correct, but it doesn't have to be. I can add another material. I can make the thickness 20 centimeters. I go okay. Okay, okay, the tragende Schicht cannot be above Dämmung, so I make it nicht tragende Schicht. I click OK. So the name stays the same, but we have another material. So the name doesn't change anything about my system and about my layers. It's just for documentation. Now, if I go to another one, as you see, there is a different parameter. There's different materials. Now you can create actual types and use them later on. So that's why we have templates that you put the wall types that you are going to use mostly. What happens if you want to create a new type? So you can go to Bearbeiten and change everything here, but it's going to change the Wärmedämmung Weich under 20, which is not correct, because if I make it 15, now the name stays the same, it's 15 centimeters, it's wrong. It's going to give me wrong information. So you can either go to Umbenennen and change this to 150, but now you realize that we don't have 120 anymore. It's gone. We want to make a new one. We don't want to change the existing one. So I go to Duplizieren, a duplicate option, and I create the 121 again. I go to Bearbeiten and I make it 12 again. Now, What happens if you want to make a wall with different layers, just than one? I go to duplizieren and I call this Stahlbeton plus Wärmedämmung 300 plus 160. I go to Bearbeiten. Now I want to make this tragende Schicht and I want to make it Ortbeton. Bewert. I click OK. And the thickness I want it to be 30 centimeters. Now that's only one material. I want more. I need one more material. It has to be a Wärmedämmung. I go to Einfügen and now I have another material. I make it Dämmung Luftschicht. And the category I want to make Dämmung. So this is the material. Okay, somehow I don't see the Dämmung. Here, Dämmung hard. I click OK. And the thickness should be under 60. Now, this Dämmung I can leave under the kern, under the core axis. These two, 1 and 4, are axes, not materials. So I want to keep my Dämmung above the core, exterior side. Exterior side means upper side. So outside is this side and the inside is bottom. I want it to be at the top. I click OK. I click OK again. And now I have my Basiswand Stahlbeton plus Wärmedämmung 300 plus 160. And here we go. We have a different wall type. Now I'm going to erase all of these. Well, let's keep the other one. Just erase the interior. As you see in my 3D, I have my walls. I want to make it smaller. Another tip is here, using the temporary dimensions. When I pick a wall, any dimension I give is going to affect only the wall that I picked. So if I want to make this wall closer to the left one, I need to select this wall. If I select this wall, I'm going to move this wall. Like this. So let's say I want to keep them at 10 meters, but from the exterior, not from the interior. So as you see in my temporary dimensions, there are two nodes. These are small dots that I can click and drag. So I'm holding my mouse button right now. And I bring it to the exterior side of my wall. I click on this one, drag it on the exterior side of this one, and I make it 10 meters. From this bottom part, I want to bring it upwards, and the same method I use here, and type 10 meters. So I have a room right now, 10 by 10. I pick everything and I want to make them more in the center, which is completely irrelevant, but something I like to do. Now, I have drawn my walls. Let's start with the floors. Well, you may realize that there are two different tools that look similar to each other, which one is Geschossdecke and Decke. But as you see on the pictures, Decke is what you call it, a hanging roof, like hanging ceiling. So it's above us, it's on the top, where you put your lighting fixtures, where you put your AVAC, like air conditioners and stuff. All those goes on the Decke. But we want a Geschossdecke, which is the floor that we step onto. Now I go to Geschossdecke and I have a drawing panel again and parameters. The first parameter and the most important one is where my floor is going to be. Even though I'm drawing in Ebene null right now, I can change and make it in Ebene 2, so when I draw it, my floor will be in Ebene 2, not in Ebene 1 or 0. So it doesn't matter which level you are on, it matters which parameter you assign it to. So let's go with Ebene null. So as you realized, I have drawn it with rectangle tool. What other options do we have here? Well, other than the wall tool, different than the wall tool, we have here Wände auswählen, which is a wall selection tool. I erase this and I go to Wände auswählen. Now, all I need to do is pick the walls. It selected the inner side of the core. I can click and I can press this button. And as you see, all the lines are moved to the exterior side of the core. Here is the catch. Why did it only align it to the core and not the exterior side of the wall? In reality, we don't want a floor to go above, go further from the core, because then we have the structural materials are connecting, and then we have the covering material, which is a finish material. This, in this case, is the Dimenions. So Revit understands it automatically and makes it according to that. But in cases that you don't want that, you just want to make your floor on the exterior side, you don't care, you can just drag it as you want. Or another option, a tool, a tip, is using the shortcut AL, which stands for align, in German, which is ausrichten. You can pick the exterior side and you can pick the line and you can align it. Or let's say I want to align it to this middle line, this black line. As you see, right now I'm hovering over the wall and it shows me the Wandachse. I don't want to pick the Wandachse, I want to pick the exterior side of the core. So on my keyboard, I press the Tab button, Tabulaturtaste in German. And more I press, it circles through the options of my selection. I want to select this one. And I want to select the red line here. Now when I say OK, this is unimportant, I have drawn my floor. Now as you see, it doesn't look that good. Like, okay, we didn't make it up until the exterior side, we just left it here. But then there's a gap, which we don't like to have. Well, let's explain that, why it happens and how we can solve it. There are different options to solve it. One of them is, I'm going to put a section right now, is that you can move this part, the Dimenions part, down, which is a good option. Can work and nothing would cross. So for that I go to Typ bearbeiten, bearbeiten. This is a very important tip right now. Here we have Vorschau button, preview. And as you see, it shows me how it looks in Grundriss. At the bottom right corner here, we have Ansicht, which is defined as Grundriss right now. But I want it to be Schnitt. I want it to be a section. Now, as you may realize, when I open the Vorschau, I have here some extra tools that I can use right now. And I want to pick Ändern, which is modify. And then I click at the bottom part of my exterior side and unlock it. I also click on this side and keep it locked. I click OK, anwenden, OK. As you see now, I have an arrow to drag this exterior part only. You can check the parameters here that I don't have the Versatz unten or Versatz oben parameters that I'm moving. But now we have a different material, different parameter here called Verlängerungsabstand unten. That's a good parameter. And I want to make it as thick as this floor. Let's check out. This floor is 200 millimeters. So I click here, make it minus 0.2. And it works. I go into my 3D. And as you see, this side looks perfect. How about the other ones? Is there an easy way to do it? Yes, there is. I pick them. And now, you remember my little parameter here, Verlängerungsabstand unten. I make it minus 0.2. And now all of them are fixed. So when I go to Schnitt 1, as you see, this side is also done perfectly. If you want to do it manually, it would take ages to change all the walls because, okay, in one Schnitt, I am cutting through these two walls. But then I have to draw another Schnitt to change these ones. Here, as you may realize, we have a little problem. To solve this problem, I have a tool. I go to Ändern, and I have here Wandverbindungen option. This actually allows me to change the Verbindung type, the connection type of the walls. I click on it. I come above the corner. I click once. Now I'm going to change the options of this area. There are different options. There are rechtwinklig schneiden, which in this case is still correct. In some cases it might not be correct. We have Gärung, which is another option. We have Verbindung nicht zulassen, so leave it like this, which is not the best case. In my case, I want to go with the Gärung. Now, as you see right now, there is still this line here, which is not going to be there forever. Don't worry about that. I make the same thing on all corners. And I escape out of that twice or 3 times. And as you see, it looks perfect right now. And when I look at it in 3D, my room looks perfect. Now, I have my floor, but I don't have anything above me. I can have a roof, I can have a ceiling, I can have another floor for the upper floor. Now, I go to Ost, and as you see, I have my Ebene 2. I pick everything. So, and you see, it says 5 elements picked, which is 4 walls and 1 floor. I want to pick I want to pick everything better. And then I go here, kopieren, in this small paper clip in the Ändern part. And I go einfügen with this drop down menu. And then an ausgewählten Ebenen ausgerichtet. So what it does is I copied every element here. Now I'm going to place them onto top level. I pick Ebene 1 and I click OK. Now everything is perfectly aligned. Now what do I see here? Why do I still see the floor? Actually, you don't see the floor there. You see the crossing, the crash of these walls together. So this one goes until the Ebene 1, and this one goes below Ebene 1. What you can do is pick all the walls up here and make it 0 for this parameter. In this case, we only see one line, which we won't see if we connect them. Now I have my 2-floor high rooms. Let's call it rooms. I go to my section and all looking great, except one thing. This part seems kinda off. So I pick my floor. So I go to verbindugnen. I pick my floor. Then I pick the walls. Escape out of that. And now it looks perfectly aligned. No crossings, no crash, nothing. This is the cleanest way to do it. Although while you're practicing, you may realize that, well, okay, great, but you have a wall with 2 layers. What happens if I have only 1 layer? Let's say I only have this key S wall. And it's only 1 layer. There is no extra layer that I can cover it up. Now, in reality, you wouldn't have a wall that's only 1 layer. You would have a wall with multiple layers. But in that case, it just depends on how you want to show it. If you want to close the floor the same way we did here, you can just make the Grenzung in the interior side. So this way you can just move the cores and close it out. So the floor stays inside. Now moving to the next tip is, as with my walls, how can I change the type of my floors? So I go to Typ bearbeiten, and here the same method as walls. Now it has a lot of defined Geschossdecken here right now, a lot of floors. I can go duplizieren, I can name it anything I want. I go to bearbeiten and I can put more materials to it and give different thicknesses. And on the left side is we open the foreshadow ones, so you can see now how it would look. You can give different materials as you want to. And because I changed it after I picked this floor, you will see that my floor is also changed, but the upper floor is not changed because I only picked this one and it's a new type. What happens if I want to make this one same as the other one? I pick it, I come here, and I pick anything I want. As you see, because we combined them already, it still aligns perfectly. These are the old tips with the floors and the walls. Now, let's come to the difference between Geschossdecke, Decke, and Dach. Well, Dach is completely different, so it's easier to differentiate. But Decke is something very similar. But there are some parameter differences. So when you go to Decke, you may first see that there is the automatische Decke option and the Decke skizzieren option. To draw an automatic ceiling, you have to have a closed room. So because we have here a closed room, then I can pick it and it's going to create a ceiling for me. But here I have a warning. Well, you cannot see it because of my camera. I just move it a little bit. So, as you see here, there is this warning, which says, keine der darstellenden Elemente sind in Grundriss Ebene 0 sichtbar. So, because it's a ceiling and it's above us, it's going to be above the cut line of my Grundriss. So if I'm cutting my grundriss from 1 meter and the ceiling is right now in 2.6 meter high, then I don't see it in my grundriss. Where can I see it? As I mentioned before, we see it in the Decken plane. Now, Decken plane null, and here, of course, I don't see it because right now it's crossing because my Geschossdecke is too thick. Let's make it Stahlbeton 200. And here, it's very thin, actually too thin, without any thickness, like maybe really small one, yeah, 0.1. You can change it to different ones. These are basis deck, and there is Decken system, carton, so for example, which has a thickness like any floor. If it's a basis deck, it has a raster, but it hasn't got any thickness. It just have a material. If it's a Decken system, it has also a thickness, which you can change like a Geschossdecke, like a floor. Why do we have different ones? One of the things is it has different parameters. Of course, a floor cannot be with zero thickness. Another thing is scheduling. Then later on you want to make lists, schedules that, for example, you want to show what kind of decke you are using in your rooms and what kind of Geschossdecke you are using. Now, in that case, you want them to be separated. You don't want the Deck and Geschossdecke be on the same categories because they are completely different. Therefore, we have the Decke and Geschossdecke differently. Now, another thing is the roof. Let's go to Ebene 2. Not in Decken planet, but in Grundriss. And then I come here, to architecture, and go to Dach. Well, the drawing things are same tools. But this time, you realize that we have some triangles. What does it mean? It means there is a Neigung, means there is a angle on my roofs. So if I go click OK, as you see, I have a roof like this. I pick it, I go to Grundfläche bearbeiten. And if I don't want anything, if I want a flat roof, I go Bestimmtneigung and I cancel it. And now I have a flat one. If I want two sides to be angled and the other two sides are straight, I go pick these two and give a Neigung, give an angle, and I click OK, and my roof is like this. We will continue with the roofs later on with different types, different styles, but for right now, this is all you need to know. We can keep it like this right now. Alright, we have come to the end of this session. Before I finish, I want to show you one last thing, which are the dimensions. Okay, we have drawn this, we have everything perfectly, and then I want to show what my dimensions are. So when you go to Beschriften, you have here the Ausgerichtet tool, which has the shortcut DI for dimension. Now, I always use my keyboard shortcut for that, DI. And now, it automatically goes to the Ausgerichtet, but then you can change it to linear, Winkel, radial, Durchmesser, anything you want. I will go with the Ausgerichtet. Now, if I come here, it gives me the different selection options. I want to select the exterior side. I want to select the interior side to show my wall thickness. I want to come to this side to show the interior distance And then now I want to show the different material thicknesses of this wall. It shows automatically to the axis, the wall axis, middle axis. I press my tab button on my keyboard to pick this side. I click once, I come here to the exterior part, I click again, and now, as you see, I can move it. How do I actually leave it? I just click out somewhere without any reference. And now I have created my dimensions. I can move it down. Try it on the other side as well. That's a good practice for you. Let's try to make this first. Go up until down and finish it like this. What happens if I just want to show the wall thickness and not the rest? I click once, I click twice, I click thrice, and leave it here. I don't draw the interior part. But later on, I decided to add one more, whatever. I pick it, I go to Maßhilfslinien bearbeiten, and now I continue where I left off. And it's finished. In other options, let's leave it like this. I pick it here, I picked it here, and here. Instead of going to the option that we picked before, the Maßhilfslinien bearbeiten, I go dimensions again, and I draw another one. I can put it anywhere I want, but I want it to be aligned. For example, I can leave it here, but I want it to be a bit above. Here as well. However you want to. In best exercises, you would show the thicknesses like this, then you would show the full exterior like this. You can arrange the distance later on, for example. Thank you for watching. This was all for today. It's a little bit longer than last time, actually double the time almost. I hope it's helpful, and this week you didn't receive any videos, any lectures, live lectures. So I hope this is going to help you with your homeworks, and see you in the next videos.